Well, it has been about 8 months since I first heard this song, and since I first heard the Beatles, basically, knowingly, it was my first song ever. And now we are back with a different version of it. Should be fun. Hi, guys. Welcome to Leave Reacts. Hope everyone's having a good day. I know I am. We're trying something a little different for this Beatles Sunday/Tuesday, whatever day you see this. I have a feeling this one's going to get blocked because the Anthology 2 stuff always gets blocked. So there's another video that I'm going to try, and I'm going to do 2 Beatles videos separately tonight. I'm going to try and get one up at least on Sunday because I've been getting lots of blocked videos lately. But we're going to, like I said, the Anthology 2 version of A Day in the Life. I guess it was released in 1996, featured a composite remix of A Day in the Life, including elements from the first 2 takes, representing the song at its early pre-orchestral stage, while Anthology 3, the last in a trilogy of albums, the Anthology ones, all of which tie in with the televised special of the Beatles Anthology. Reverse and played forwards. So there's a bunch of little tidbits about it and stuff, but I can still, I guess, honestly say that it's still my favorite Beatles song. But Dear Prudence, God, Dear Prudence is so close. And then Tomorrow Never Knows, and the list goes on and on. Alright, so I'll link my Beatles playlist up there if y'all want to go watch that too. If you're watching this on YouTube, hopefully it gets up. This is a courtesy of our patron, Laura A. As always, thank you very much, Laura, for all of your support. I truly appreciate it. And I'm sorry that the comments, that's just the internet, and you're never going to please everybody, and I've come to realize that, so gotta just let it go. Alright, A Day in the Life by the Beatles. And unfortunately, there's no sunlight this time. Sorry, George. 3, 2, 1, go.
Have the mic on the piano quite low. There's just keeping it like maracas, you know. You know those old pianos.
Frickin' John, bro.
Okay, well. Sugar Bum Fairy, Sugar Bum Fairy.
I read the news today, oh boy.
That's Paul, right? I'm just kidding.
About a lucky man who made the grade. And though the news was rather sad, well, I just had to laugh.
John's voice is so...
I saw the photograph. He blew his mind out in a car. He didn't notice that the lights had changed. A crowd of people stood and stared. They'd seen his face before. Nobody was really sure if he was from the House of Lords. I saw a film today, oh boy. The English army had just won the war. A crowd of people turned away, but I just had to look, having read the book. I'd love to tell you.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15.
What the fuck?
16, 17, 18, 19, 20.
It's Revolution 9.
Woke up, fell out
bass is more prominent too.
Today, oh boy, 4,000 holes in Blackburn, Lancashire. And though the holes were rather small, they had to count them all. Now they know how many holes it takes to fill the Albert Hall. I'd love to turn you.
Wow.
See, the worst thing about doing this
What the fuck?
is I think that at first people sort of are a bit suspicious of people, sort of, you know, come on, what are you up to? The thing is, it really is.
Wow. Well, I didn't think I would have my mind blown in a different way listening to a different version of it. Wow, that really is one of the best songs of all time, isn't it? Even it's like 2 takes put together, and then like they don't have the overdubs on it. I guess it was way more straightforward, you know, Beatles songy. Because the studio cut with the overdubs from Martin, it's very I don't know, not sublime. What's the word? It's very it's got some mystique to it, you know. The whole song, it's got those random kind of strings that, you know, I think on the low end of things, I think that really adds sort of a layer to it that you like. You listen to it and you just want it to keep going, you know. But that whole part in the middle with Paul's part, it felt like it was a little shorter. I could be wrong though. If I could be remembering incorrectly. I thought it was like at least maybe 10 or 20, maybe 10 seconds longer, you know, 20 seconds longer. I felt like it was a little bit shorter in this part. But the bass was way more punchy, without the strings, I think, in there as well, if I'm remembering that correctly. I felt like there was a little more space for the rest of the music to be heard. And man, when they do drop the orchestral stuff there at the end, because it kind of just comes out of nowhere because it hasn't been like built up at all during the song, but it's just like you just get smacked across the face with with a cello, bro. Oh my god, that was crazy. See, that's what I'm saying. I wasn't expecting I just thought it was gonna be the same song, but just, you know, a different little version of it. No, they kind of, especially the ending, like that was definitely very different, you know. That, or maybe was it just missing the overdubs, and that's what it's always been, but it just has those other sounds on top of it, and I didn't catch that. But I felt like the moment of that rising tension there at the end with every single instrument and just going ooh, you know, the building part, I felt like that was like 5 or 10 seconds longer here too, which was awesome. Like that was such a good idea. Like, you know, just keep going. You know what I mean? That was so good. And then just the tension finally breaks, and then it's just over. So I see why this is like, you know, it's just like the rough draft of the song, or it's the bare bones of the song without the whole overdubs. I mean, that doesn't really work actually, because it's basically it's like being it's like being a person without wearing clothes. There you go. That's a better analogy. It's like you just haven't put your clothes on yet. You know, you're still all there. It's still you, but them clothes make you look, I guess, a lot better. So if that does work though, because this is kind of like a naked version of the song. There, good job, Lee. You got it. It's very just John's vocals in general in the beginning, and that little joke I had. That's just, if you don't remember, I remember because I got literally, I think, over 1,000 comments about it. About how I didn't know that, you know, it was John singing in the beginning. It's my first Beatles song. Like, how am I supposed to know that, bro? Come on. I'm still salty about that. But I can't be mad because it got tons of engagement, and that kind of taught me some things right there. just say something wrong, you know. People love to correct you. But I try to, you know, have all my info straight as much as, you know, as best I can. It's hard with the Beatles because they're the Beatles. There's so much lore on them and different accounts of things. There's whole tomes written about them. You know, I'm still reading through. Whenever I can, I read a page. You know, and that's all about like the very, very beginning. Like it's not even like this stuff yet, and that's just crazy to me, man. But yeah, John's vocals here still great as always. Like I said, Paul's part a little bit shortened, I feel like in the middle, but it's still, the song still flowed, I think, as well as it did in the studio cut. You know, it just was kind of stripped back, obviously, without the Martin, you know, overdubs and such, but it still shows like how talented of a group of songwriters these guys are, because it's such a great song even without all that extra stuff, you know. It is kind of like two ideas mashed together, or two songs or whatever. But still, it works great, and you know, Paul is famous, I guess, for doing that. I found that out recently. You know, he's really famous for putting a bunch of song ideas into one, you know, song basically, and just rolling every, you know, minute over. You know, let me roll it, even though that's not one of those songs that just popped in my head. But yeah, that. Still, like I said, still as mind-blowing as ever, still as tight as ever, and just not serotonin. It's is that what it is? There's not oxytocin. What is it? I guess it would be serotonin. You know, just releases all that dopamine. That's the one I'm looking for. It's a dopamine inducer. You know, you just listen to that song and there's just something about it. Like, it's kind of hard to describe what exactly it is. If it's the pace, if it's the charm, if it's I don't know, if it's the whole kind of trippy aspect to it as well. You know, like there's all kinds of things it could be, I think. But I think we all realize that, you know, as Beatles fans or whatever. And I'm a new convert, and basically within this calendar year, you know. But like, I've completely dived in head first to them, and I'm very, very, very glad that I did. Because I had no idea, and I was missing out on so much. And that's self-evident with all the bands I've discovered, but especially with the Beatles, because they are, like, you know, the most popular band of all time. But you would think someone, you know, you would know something about them or listen to some of their music. And no, I never really did. I never really cared. Like I said, I went from one extreme to the other. I hopped from Christian music and alternative music as a kid to death metal and, you know, screaming and stuff like that. So I kind of made a big jump. So a lot of stuff got lost in the cracks. Basically, if you weren't Led Zeppelin or Pink Floyd, I didn't really know much about you. So I knew who the Beatles were, and I'm so glad that I think it was Paul, our patron Paul, who's still around. He requested that video in, I think, January or December. And I was like, oh, cool, you know, a Beatles track. You know, the channel up to that point had been kind of like prog-y at that point. That was like the season of the channel, because they, you know, they change or whatever. And that song was the one that completely changed everything, and it shot my channel in a whole different direction. And I'm very glad that it did, because I've listened to so much stuff I never would have even dreamed of. So I love it. And to finish everything off, I think Ringo in this is fantastic as always. He kind of made himself a little more heard and seen, I guess you could say, in the second half of the song. He was there the whole time, though, laying it down. But it's, like I said, it's a very stripped back version of it. So he's not as featured in the mix as like the vocals and the piano and stuff are. And especially when like the strings and stuff come in there at the end abruptly out of nowhere. I thought that was so cool. That's not a bad thing in the slightest. I think that was such a cool like drop. That's kind of like what they do nowadays in some sorts, you know, like breakdowns and such. They just kind of lead you one way, and then it's just like a jerk to the left or jerk to the right, you know. It's just a crazy drop out of nowhere, and I love it. Love every second of it. So yeah, that was great. I think obviously John is my highlight of this, because he was mostly the whole song, him and Ringo, other than Paul there in the middle for a verse or two, it felt like. Maybe I'm tripping. Maybe it was the same length. I feel like I just listened to it recently. I feel like Paul's part was longer. But alas, that is it. Thank you, Laura, for letting me come back to the song once again. I really appreciate you. Because it's one thing to listen to it on my own, but it's a whole different thing to do a video for it. You know, I enjoy doing this and being able to conversate with you guys over it, you know, in the chat and everything. It really makes me, I don't know. It gives me context. It helps me learn, and it's not just me listening to music and going, haha, I like this, you know, which I try my best not to be that way. You guys know that, but I'm honest. Sometimes it might be that, because sometimes that's all I got for you. I'm not going to lie, because I listen to a lot of music, but there are some bands, I'll say 80% of bands, you'll get a really good reaction out of me. The other 20%, you know, I just can't help that, you know. There's only so much of me to go around, you know what I mean? But the Beatles will always get my attention. And I better stop yapping so I can go record that other one so I can try and get one up for y'all for Sunday. So, I'm out of here. Thanks again, Laura. You rock. Patreon, right here. Oh, that's a picture of it. There's a link in the description. If you join the $15 tier or up, you get one free request a month. Join any of the tiers, get access to all of our block videos and full album reactions, which is including Sgt. Pepper, where this song is from. Also, we've done half of the White Album. We've done half of Please Please Me. All of Revolver. All of, oh no, Abbey Road. You can't see it, but it's back there. All of Abbey Road, you know, and some big, like, random singles as well. Tons of King Crimson and Blocked. All the Block videos, that's where they go. Some Jimi Hendrix now, because that just got blocked. You know, it's definitely worth it. We have a Discord server, everything, man. We'd love to have you. There's also a PayPal as well in the description. Thanks for watching. See ya.